Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to my response to the thread that's going wild to show their 10 most listened to albums. It was set up by Chris at The Long Cut, I believe, and I've seen quite a few of these. Now, I wasn't going to do this because I thought it was next to impossible to work out your 10 most played albums or your 10 go-to albums. Where do you start? Do you start at the very beginning from the first album you bought? If you do, it's impossible. And then I thought, well, if I start from whenever I got back into vinyl in 2016, I think it was, I could work out what I have played actually the most. And I thought, well, do I include CDs then? Because I still do play CDs. They are albums, you know. And so I've decided to go with from about 2016 onwards. And these are any albums, they're not necessarily new albums, because if I'm being honest, I don't listen to new albums as much or give as much attention to new albums as I used to. It's just the way it is. Even with my favourite artists, I don't. So as I say, I'm starting at 2016 and I am going to include CDs as well. One, I have to include a CD because it was never released on vinyl. And also the fact is, some of these albums I listen to more on CD in the car, and I will actually tell you which ones as well. So these are in no particular order, and it's like every VC top 10, it's almost like a baker's dozen. There's one wee extra one at the end. So as I say, in no particular order, and the first one up is the Beatles' Abbey Road, and I would tend to play this more on vinyl than I would on CD. I've had this album since 1980 when my brother gave me it. He got a green vinyl copy of it at the time, and he gave me this one, which was the black vinyl. It is my favourite Beatles album. I absolutely love it. I must also say that these albums are not necessarily my favourites of the artists. It's just the ones I tend to go to more recently. So Beatles Abbey Road, not a lot to say about this. Side 2 is perfect, side 1 is not far from perfect. To George Harrison's best song, Something and Here Comes the Sun, Ringo's best song, Octopus's Garden, and as I say, side 2 is absolutely magnificent, so Abbey Road is one of them. Next one is, believe it or not, Queen Hot Space. Now, I know a lot of Queen fans can't stand this. I love this album. I've always loved this album. It is a feel-good album for me. It can be actually quite sleazy as well with some of the Freddie songs like Body Language, but Staying Power, the opener with that bass and the horns, is just magnificent. It's really brilliant. You do get normal Queen songs as well, like Put Out the Fire and the ballad Life Is Real, which is okay apart from the lyric Lennon is a genius, which always makes me cringe. Las Palabras de Amor. You find that side 2 of this is more like your normal Queen, and side 1's more your disco dancey nightclub Queen. And I think the problem as well is most people play side 1 first, and whenever they heard side 1 they said, that's it, I'm not even going to give side 2 a chance. But it also has Under Pressure. Cool Cat is a fantastic track. It's almost like a chic track. Calling All Girls was a single in America, should have been a single here, one of Roger Taylor's best. And I do actually like Body Language. I think it's actually pretty good. So Queen Hot Space from 1982. This one here is, on this is called the English Congregation, but it's the Congregation. They're an English band, and this came out I think in 1971. I do have this on CD as well. I tend to play it a lot, and it's actually in the car at the moment. And this is a band with Brian Keith and Alan Parker. They had one big hit single here, Softly Whispering I Love You, which I got whenever I was a kid. It's one of my all-time favourite singles. I just absolutely adore it. And this is really all cover versions, but Brian Keith's voice is very rough, it's very gruff, and in some cases you think he's singing out of tune, especially in the track A Lover's Concerto, which I absolutely adore that track, and I love this version of it as well. They do a very good version of Morning Has Broken and a fantastic version of A Whiter Shade of Pale. I like the feel of this. It's a really solid album. Okay, it is all cover versions, but they're different. And as the name of the band implies, it's the congregation. There almost is a congregation behind them of choir singers. Brilliant album. They only had 2 albums. I have their other album as well, which is not quite as good, but this one is great. And this here copy is an American promo. I don't have the English one or the British one. I wouldn't mind getting it because I don't like the way it's called, the English congregation. I think there was another one called the congregation in America at the time, and I also think they may have sang Softly Whispering I Love You as well. But yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic album and well worth looking out if you've never heard it. We'll go on to a CD now, and this is from the 1990s, and this is Carleen Carter, I Fell in Love. I absolutely love this. This is so uplifting. It is country music, and it's almost a little bit yee-haw country music, but it just makes me smile. It really does, and it puts me in such a good mood. And this is very rarely out of the car. Everything about it is just so uplifting. You have things like My Dixie Darling, which I believe was one of the old tracks that the Carter family sang, which is great. Guardian Angel is fantastic. The Leaving Side, brilliant track. I Fell in Love, and it's got the keyboardist, and I can never remember which one it is. Is it Howie Epstein from Tom Petty and Heartbreakers, or is it your other guy? But it's the keyboardist anyway, he plays on this. Come On Back is very good. The Sweetest Thing, it's a really, really good, fun album, and it's one of my favourite albums of the 1990s. So it's I Fell in Love by Carleen Carter, the ex-wife of Nick Lowe. And talking of Nick Lowe, we have Nick the Knife, and this is his 1982 album, and this is his first album after Rockpile disbanded. I got this on cassette without a cover for 20p or 25p over in Jersey when I was working in the Grand Hotel as a barman during the summer of 1989, and I played it constantly and just had to buy the album. Love it to bits. It's maybe not my favourite of his, but it's the one I go to all the time. It starts off with Burning, which is a great opener, and then a reggae version of Heart, which was a track from the Rockpile album. My Heart Hurts and Couldn't Love You Any More Than I Do are absolutely brilliant tracks. Let Me Kiss You is great. Too Many Teardrops that Squeeze performed a few times live back in the day. Excellent. And there's some Carleen Carter co-written tracks on this as well. So Nick the Knife by Nick Lowe is another one of my go-tos. Okay, T-Rex, this is my go-to. It is my favourite album, and that's probably why, because I go to it all the time. And it's Tanks from 1973. This doesn't have any hit singles on it. The 2 hit singles, I think that may actually have improved this. It would have been 20th Century Boy and Solid Gold Easy Action, but I'm happy enough that they're not on it. I think it was very brave of him around that time as well, because his star was starting to wane a little bit. I thought maybe if 20th Century Boy had been put on this, it would have done better. Got to number 4, but it didn't stay in the charts too long. And I think it was released more or less the same week as the 20th Century Boy single, which was weird that it wasn't on. But you get brilliant tracks like the opener Tenement Lady, which is a really odd opener, but it works so well. Going Into Rabbits, one of my favourite songs. That's Rap-Ids, not Rabbits. And Electric Slim, The Factory Hens, fantastic track. Born to Boogie, which was the B-side of Solid Gold Easy Action, so I don't know why it got on over Solid Gold Easy Action, but I suppose Born to Boogie is a better song. And then The Street and Bay of Shadow, Highway Knees, brilliant album from 73, and it's the same if you're a T-Rex album. Okay, next up it is The Cars and Shake It Up from 1981. Now I would tend to play this more on CD in the car, because I bought that little box set with all their albums, bar the last one. But this is my favourite Cars album, and there's not a bad track off this. You get Since You're Gone, Shake It Up, I'm Not in Love, all on the Greatest Hits album, although I'm Not in Love is only in the CD version. Victim of Love, Cruiser, 2 more great songs from Side 1. In fact, Side 1 is perfect. A Dream Away, This Could Be Love, Think It Over, and Maybe Baby, Side 2 are all very strong songs. Now this came out in 1981. I don't think it sounds dated, although it does sound from the time, but it still sounds really fresh, so Shake It Up is one of my choices. This one here is the most recent album, and this came out in 2021, and I played this most of 2022, and I've played it quite a few times already this year. And it's Abba's Voyage, and now you will know that I'm a huge Abba fan. When this came out, I just was blown away. I couldn't believe it, and this is a brilliant album which gets better and better with the more listens. The two, well, there's about 4 singles off this now. Don't Shut Me Down, Magnificent, I Still Have Faith in You is one of the best ever things Bjorn and Benny ever wrote. Just a Notion, which was a track from 1978, which was worked on, even though the vocals remained the same. So you've got young Agneta and Frida's vocals on this, and it's so upbeat, it's great. And Little Things, which is turning into a bit of a Christmas classic for me. I always thought side 2 was a little bit weaker, but it has really grown in stature for me as well. Like, I Can Be That Woman, it has a country feel, but it is still an excellent track. Keep an Eye on Dan, Bumblebee, gorgeous vocal by Frida, and then you have No Doubt About It, which is so upbeat. Finishing off with Ode to Freedom, the best song on the album. So yeah, Abba Voyage, it's a fantastic album, and I would wish they'd do one more, but there's no chance, so that gets picked. Okay, 2 more, and a David Bowie one, and the one I would say I've listened to the most since 2016. Spin-Ups. Yeah, I know, it's the covers album, but there's something about this I really like. I still wouldn't put it in my top 10 Bowie albums because it's a covers album, but I just keep coming back to this all the time. There's not a bad song of it. The weakest one for me is Everything's Alright, but that's it. Rosalind is fantastic opener of side 1, and Friday on My Mind is fantastic opener of side 2. Where Have All the Good Times Gone is better than the Kinks' original. See Emily Play, brilliant. I Can't Explain, a brilliant version of the Who song, and I just can't get enough of this. And you know, a lot of people don't like it. I love it, but I still wouldn't put it that high in my Bowie albums ranking, but I still come back to it. Okay, the last one, and it's The Police, Regala de Blanc. I've never got sick of this. I probably play this more in the car as well, because I bought that little Police box set with all the albums on it. Message in a Bottle, Walking on the Moon, The Bed's Too Big Without You, Bring On the Night, 4 of Sting's best ever songs. Death Wish, another one of his best, I think, although that one is maybe credited to the lot of them. Even things like On Every Other Day, Contact, and Does Everyone Stare, which I used to be not that keen on, love them now. And No Time This Time, brilliant way to finish the album. And I think Rob Walker picked Zinyatum and Data in his 10 go-to albums. I was very close to picking it as well, but I still think this has the edge, so Regala de Blanc for me. And the 11th one and the final one, and this is listened to every year, and it's going to get a shout out again, and it's Jim Reeves' 12 Songs of Christmas, which gets played every Christmas. It reminds me of being a kid, and I love it, and it's my favourite Christmas album, so there you go. So thanks to Chris for starting this thread. I finally had a go, and yeah, I'm happy with my choices, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.